Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the North Santiam Sewer Authority Board Meeting number 71. It's December 5th, 2022 at 6 p.m. Welcome. Roll call.
Mr. Woodward,
Present.
Mr. Kirsch,
Here.
Mr. Nielsen,
Present.
Mr. Morones.
Present.
This is Janet Zion Hall. Is Brian Gander here yet? Do
Brian
not see Brian.
sent a note that he would not be attending.
Okay,
1, 2, 3. We have 5. We do have a quorum. Any declarations, conflict of interest? Hearing none. Announcements. Larry? Kelly? Okay, hearing none. Public comments and questions, please limit public comments to 3 minutes each. Do we have any?
No comments, but just a hello. Rachel McIsaac here again, interested citizens. Thank you for having me.
Hey, welcome aboard. Thank you. All
Thanks
right.
for attending, Rachel.
I do not see Brian Nicholas. So the first one, Marion County Engineer and Design Update. Kelly or Larry, do you have anything or?
No, Brian Nicholas and Peter Olson were supposed to attend, so they must be late.
Hello, Arthur.
look at our youngest member.
Yeah, right on. Welcome
Hello,
aboard.
everybody. Hi, Ben.
Hi.
Get a blow kiss? Blow kiss. That's right. That's right.
Hey. Michelle, welcome aboard.
Hello.
All right. We don't see them. Maybe they'll join here in a little bit. I don't even see McRae. Well, we're batting. All right. Moving on. NSSA calendar 2023. I see this one is 2022.
Are we going to stay on the same schedule we are right now of the first Monday of the month, same time frame through 2023? Are we going to spread out our meetings? Are we going to end? What are you guys looking at?
I made up a draft. Let me open it up. I can screen share with you guys, unless you have it open, Ken or Janet.
Here we go.
I
All yours.
All right, let me open it up. All right. Share screen. All right, you guys see it?
Not yet. There it
There we
is.
go.
Okay, cool. Yep. It's the same where we would be having first Monday, and then we discussed at our last meeting, maybe 2 meetings ago, having, instead of the work sessions, we would be having what's called like a board meeting, which would essentially be a special meeting where we would be able to make decisions. And so for those where we would normally have that work session, I put it as a board meeting instead.
Right on.
And so, it's just, if there were a holiday, it just moves to the next one, which is what we were following in 2022.
And that second meeting is an optional meeting, right? If we need it.
Right, it is.
Okay.
And it's more so board session is where we, include external members of the community. Like that's where we get the engineers update and, we see people like Mary and, Arthur. And then the board meeting would be more so for discussing the kind of things we would have discussed at the work session, but we're just calling it something different. So that way we can take decision on it. Unless we don't have a quorum, then it only becomes a discussion. And then here's the second half. Same thing where we just have, it moves 1 week down if there's a holiday. And the board meetings would be the optional meetings.
So it's the first Monday of the month and then the third Monday of the month, which is optional.
And that's consistent with what we've been doing.
Right. Sounds great. Peter just said I was supposed to be on the agenda for the sewer authority. And I said, we are waiting.
Is he here now?
I do not see him. Is he?
I don't see him, but let me,
Did he have the link?
Good one, Tim. I will find out real shortly.
it looks like Mid Willamette Valley Cog has joined us.
Okay.
Could I ask a quick question about the calendar before we?
Just a second. Let me get myself muted here.
Yeah, what's up, Tony?
So with the green board meetings, I appreciate that because it's difficult for myself and probably others to make that second meeting. But if there are some large agenda items that still do need to be, we need to make sure we have a quorum on, maybe we can somehow make sure that everybody knows that there's something more than just kind of a work session type of situation, so that if we need to sacrifice some time, we can, be there for that meeting. Because I can't make all of those secondary meetings, if that makes sense. But I want to be available if there's not a quorum or something like that, and something that needs to be voted on.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
maybe that's just a month by month kind of vibe where we see what comes out of the first meeting or anything else.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Where it's kind of like if there's unfinished business out of the board session, you would be aware.
Yeah, because I know some of the frustration was out of the work sessions, good stuff came up and you couldn't make a decision because it wasn't officially a meeting where decisions could be made. But anyway, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you for putting this together.
Oh yeah, no worries. And we still have the option if we really did, if things really picked up, we can still schedule a work session for whenever. It's not a, we could add to it if we need.
Hello, McCray. Thanks for jumping in. Had to pick on you, sorry.
Do we need to take formal action on the calendar, or can we just by consensus approve that we're going to basically follow our recent history?
Personally, I think the consensus is enough since that's what we have been doing and approved. It's just a continuation.
It might be a little, it wouldn't be too much extra to take a vote on it because you guys kind of would be in a way changing to where, okay, instead of having the work sessions, we can take action on the board meetings. I think it's kind of you can kind of formally vote that in.
I'm back, so I missed a few things. So understanding, having a vote to have the first and third Mondays formal. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and that it would be board session and board meeting. Because it kind of almost in a way changes the structure
Yes,
of how you guys are having the meetings.
we can get things done.
Because I think in this way, you're kind of almost voting to give yourself voting power on these third Mondays.
Right, which makes sense. It makes sense to me personally. Denny,
Denny, you had your hand?
I just make a motion that we approve the 2023 calendar as presented.
Well, I'll second.
motion made by Denny, second by Tony. Any more discussion? Let's take a vote.
Mr. Woodward,
Aye.
Mr. Kirsch, Tim?
I said aye. Didn't you hear
Oh.
me?
No, it's amazing.
I didn't.
Delayed mute.
Mr. Nielsen,
Aye.
Mr. Morones,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Motion passes.
You have the motion number down?
2022-12-01.
Man, lots of numbers.
I make them bigger.
Peter didn't know that he was supposed to be here. Some miscommunication or something, but he's at his boys' choir practice, so kids first.
Yep.
NSSA second. But for everybody, Tony and Denny and Tim and everybody, and Janet, December 13th. Tuesday, 6 p.m. Detroit Community Center. There'll be a meeting for the commercial area. Is that what's been talked about, Denny?
Correct.
Um,
And it's scheduled for 6 p.m.
6 p.m. In the gym, in person, no Zoom.
It also
That's a
happens to
regular
be the
city
Mills.
Council night for me.
Do what?
That's a regular city council night for me in Mill City, so I won't be there.
Okay, we'll inform you what's going on.
Good?
I think Wednesday, they're going to be talking to the commissioners and a lot of things are going to be happening and moving forward. That's all I have.
I think I can be there.
Thank you, Tony. I'll be there myself.
Ken, you said Wednesday. Do you mean December 14th or do you mean
13th.
December 7th?
December 13th, Tuesday.
Okay, but you said Wednesday, the commissioners were going to talk about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, this coming Wednesday.
Okay, so the December 7th.
Is that correct, Larry? Don't give us all your information on your computer. Anyway, it's supposed to be, I don't know their schedule, but
Okay. No, I just was asking, no biggie.
did I miss anything, Kelly? Is it going to be this Wednesday where they're going to be doing a lot of talking and moving forward?
I want to think it's next week, but Larry, you know, I saw you looking at your calendar.
Peter's just throwing out days. He didn't say a date, so.
Hey, Ken, when I talked to Peter, it sounded like it was next week and he didn't give me a date. And then it
That's
sounded like
Yeah, I have it on Tuesday, the 13th at 6 PM.
Yeah, I just verified that too. So next.
Oh,
week-
no.
But so next week is the Wednesday,
Tuesday, the 13th at 6 PM.
at Detroit Community Center. Correct? Yes.
Mission meeting.
And the commissioners meeting and Mill City Council.
McCray. You're mute.
In looking at the Board of Commissioners agenda, they are accepting an action item for the IGA or agreement. So there is action being taken by the Board of Commissioners under Public Works. Consider approval of Amendment 2 to the architectural review with Keller. So it looks like there's parts of the IGA or of their work for the NSSA. I'm sorry.
Is it this week or next week?
This week on,
Wednesday.
I'll put it in the link I'll put it right in the chat. Is there a chat?
I have no idea.
Yeah, if you go down to the bottom, you should see the chat pop up.
There we go. So it's item 6 on this agenda, if you scroll down. So what I hear, Ken, I think you were like, oh, the Board of Commissioners are doing something, and they are. They're taking action potentially on Wednesday to finalize the contract for everything, right? The only contract that's in place right now. Okay, sorry, Kelly.
So it's okay.
Go for it.
So they have one contract done up with Keller so far for the fast start. This is an amendment to that, but it's not for everything. It's for a small add-on, which I do not know specifically what we're talking about, but it's not for the whole design for both parties. So we're still talking about the fast start with this. Sorry, Dave.
Whatever it is, it's going to start moving everything forward. Let's just put it that way.
Exactly. We are still trucking.
That's it.
For sure.
That's it. We're moving forward. That's the most important thing. So everybody, it's Tuesday, the 13th, 6 PM. Detroit Community Center. All right. The calendar, we voted on that. Thank you. Grant update, Silas.
Hi, so for the grant, the Ford Family Foundation Technical Assistance Grant, we have, McCray and I have spent this week just finishing up the application, and I do have a PDF copy of it that I can provide within the chat. And with this application, we will send it to Ford Family, and it'll take approximately 8 to 12 weeks for them to approve and review it.
12 weeks, okay.
Yes, and this application is for $5,000 to go to communications assistance for the NSSA. So this would be meeting minutes, spreading out information and correspondence between the cities and Keller and Associates and other communication related duties.
Right on. Sounds good to me.
Great job. Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I was just going to offer that we're doing the $5,000 Ford Family as kind of a simple starting point because of your contract obligations with Marion County to apply for a grant by December. You know, over the next year, 2023, we will be looking at more sustainable, you know, how does the sewer authority become a sustainable agency on its own, and be looking at processes and funding sources. But this one, it's a little amount, you know, you have the IGA with COG right now. All these services are wrapped up and taken care of, but to get something moving so that you all met that first benchmark of your contract with the county is why you're seeing a $5,000 application. Yeah, grant application.
That's what we talked about.
Yep.
That's a good
Right,
thing.
and once that application is submitted, they would have hit the deadlines for 2022.
Yes.
And so the next ones would be moving into July and December of 2023.
A little bit bigger grants, but right now we're going to start off with this one for our communication. Get going on it. Is that it, Silas?
Yeah, that should be it for me.
Right on.
And can I have a go back?
Yeah.
I want to say officially, I put my foot in my mouth, and McCray was right. On Wednesday night, the board is considering the Keller agreement for the balance. So the rest of their engineering and permitting for the entire project.
What do you say, McCray?
I say that's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that that is what is happening on Wednesday. That's what I say.
What time will that meeting be? Is it
At 9 a.m. in
Oh.
the Board of Commissioners room, and it's also shown on YouTube.
9 a.m. If anybody wants to attend, Denny, I might be showing up.
I have a conflict.
You do?
Yeah, I do. Sorry.
What's other than the NSSA?
There are some things that trump NSSA. Unlike your life.
Oh.
Wow.
Right on, touche. Nice. All right, next is policies and procedures. Send amendments to Ross Williamson. Well, not everybody received. Larry received it, Denny, McCray. Not that we got $86 left in that account. This NSSA board policies, procedures, and decorum has been voted on, and we've been using it for some time. What does everybody feel about it? I mean, it's been working for us. Tim?
I like it just fine. I like simple rules, not too complex, so that we can, keep our momentum going and not try to second guess what might come up and make a rule for something that might happen in the future. I like to, like I say, be able to roll with things as we go.
Yeah, I agree on that.
You're here.
Yes. Tony? McCray, did you have something to add to it? So if we voted on this, I don't know, that was a while back, but it's been working. Right now, we have other things that probably should be done. Does anybody, I don't see any changes personally.
Would you like to see the changes? We've kind of discussed a couple, and so what we'd be sending to Ross.
Okay.
If I share screen again.
Oh,
So the requested amendments would be, the schedule right now says that we meet on Thursdays. So it would reflect that we meet Mondays, remove that NISA shall be funded by user fees, and amend the membership policies. And those would be what's added in here. We got a little bit more. Kelly and I had a look at it, so chime in if you feel like it, Kelly, too. So that comment. So here, we were looking at the changes for work sessions, but we think there might not actually be any real changes that would be necessarily needed, but maybe it might be beneficial for Ross to provide feedback on what is considered an action and what is considered a direction. So that way, like, there's differentiation, but if we're eliminating work sessions, it might not be an issue anymore.
Good point.
Here, we were gonna have double check that there wasn't any type of duplication. The location and manner. This was something that was added, that the NISA shall provide a virtual platform, which we do. And then also that the meeting can be rotated.
So I have just a really dumb question. Since it's already in law, do we have to really put it in our rules?
Yeah, it's just showing that you're compliant with the rules, because our ORS 190 says we're going to meet in person and alternate between the 4 different locations. So we're basically saying we will still be providing a Zoom option. And even if we are meeting in person, that will be a thing. So that way, if anybody ever questions, we can just shoot them these policies and say, it's our policy to.
And then this also adds in extra language, so that way it could be at a different location. Because right now, as Kelly said, our ORS 190 says that it's the rotation of the city halls, but that would be adding this extra language. So that way we could host it at other places if we want.
Yeah. And we're supposed to be doing that anyway, yes.
This is more information on location. That was, we added. This red is new. And this would be the user fees information that would be taken out. And then here is the ethics and conflict of interest section that we talked about moving out of the financial policies and into the board policies. But instead of copy and pasting that entire ethics section, we thought it might be kind of a similar case that we came into when we had Ross do the amendments to the financial policies, where he recommended just saying the NISA shall observe the requirements of state ethics law, where, you know, in the last one we said NISA shall observe the requirements of state procurement law. And instead of listing them all out, we just listed a shortened version of that, saying that we will observe these requirements and not hold ourselves to any additional requirements or list them all out.
Well, it's something for Ross to look at.
So those are the big ads here. You know, the ethics conflict of interest, taking out the user fees.
Yes.
This information on meeting location. And then
He can look.
and having him make amendments to amend the membership policies. We ended up not writing that out. We just thought it might be best to have Ross write that out.
Yeah, I mean, so your ORS 190, if I can't quote it perfectly, but it basically says that the cities are required to appoint somebody. So I don't know, I really do want an attorney's advice on if we can override that or add addendum to it in our policies.
That makes good sense, because that's not in there. And we're having trouble right now.
Yeah. Have you guys gone to the city councils and said, hey, we really heard this, blah, 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 we need you to appoint somebody?
Tony.
Yeah, so with IDANA and my experience here, so I'm in front of our city manager, and it's one lady who in our small community does everything. And so when something is sent to City Hall, saying we need to fill this position. You're talking about one person that is responsible for all 165 residents or whatever the number is that's there. And she's like, well, if somebody doesn't bring me an actual candidate, I don't know how I have the bandwidth to do this. And so I feel like we need, and we've talked about this before, and I think we're all on board with it, at least making sure that we make an effort to say, we're in Idana this week. And if nobody shows up and we push it out there, I guess I can get behind the ad hoc and filling the position with somebody that maybe has property in Detroit, because maybe they don't live in Detroit, but they live in Kaiser or somewhere else, like a lot of people do. But they fill that position. That's concerning for me, but I also understand we need to have enough bodies and positions to fill that position. At this point, I don't feel that, you know, in my short term being here, that we've done that good of a job. I'm doing the best I can when I'm here and talking to people and residents that I know that I feel would be qualified. There's a lot of people that raise their hands and don't really meet that qualification. And if we get to that point, then I think it just needs to move on. But I really think we need to do a good job of extending ourselves a bit before we go to that ad hoc position.
But we can put it in there and use that as a last resort.
Yeah.
We do need to get up to Idana.
Yeah, and it's just one of those locations. I acknowledge. I'll go on record acknowledging. I know it's difficult. It's small. It's challenging. Resistance, different things, but it's part of the picture. So,
well, we do have people in Detroit that participate in a lot of the events for Idana, and maybe one of them will step up.
yeah, 100%. So anyway, that's my input. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Anyway, so where we were at was, if you guys are good with those changes, the few that we've made that were fairly easy to do, and then the couple things that we had questions for from the attorney, we can shoot those off the attorney, get the specific answers to those 2 questions, and then get back to you.
Do we need to make a motion to move it forward?
I would say no, but you know, if you want to be safe, you could make the motion.
Technically, that's just providing staff direction, so it's not an official action. Just saying,
Okay.
yeah, we're good so far. We keep moving
Yeah.
along the path.
That's when you vote in the changes. I think that it's a decision, but for the staff direction.
Well, I think it'd be good for Ross to review it. Anybody else? Let's send it off. No one else wants to speak, I will. Send it to Ross. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Here we go. Maybe Michelle Tisdale wants to step up for Idana. I'll throw your name in there, Michelle.
She's
Hey,
amazing.
I'm not in Idana.
I know, but
She's got about a million things going on.
I
Come
know.
on, Tony. I know you can sell it.
All right, we got that. And going on to consent, summary notes, November 7th, 2022. McCray. I didn't get him.
Oh, really? What
Did
would
I
you
miss
like me to do?
something?
I don't think so. I don't know.
Did anybody else get them? Received
I've
them?
not seen them.
You're on mute, McCray. that dang button.
Sorry, I try to keep myself on mute more than not. Let's just move it to next month if everyone hasn't had the opportunity to review and you don't have it before you, or the next
Okay.
meeting even. It could. Are you going to meet on the 12th? No. Have you determined?
I don't know, when's the? I don't have
The
it.
first and third. I think we'll put it on January. We'll make sure everyone receives it and can review it by January meeting.
Yeah, January meeting.
Speaking of the January meeting, that falls as a holiday for those working state, federal, counties. So do we want to do it on the 2nd, or do we want to move it out to the following week?
2nd or the 16th.
16th.
We can move to the 16th. Right now, the calendar has it on the 9th,
Okay,
but the 16th is also MLK Day.
yeah,
Okay, hold on.
have to be the 9th.
And then that puts the board meeting on the 23rd.
But see, I don't have, see, I still got the 2022 calendar.
Hmm.
Fine. Yeah,
Here, I'll share again.
I-
We could look at it. There's January.
January. The 9th. Or the 23rd.
Well, it seems like based off of what we discussed, that it would just bump to the 9th.
Agree.
Agreed. January 9th. I personally agree. It's not my decision. What does everybody else think? Tony wants it, or Tony agrees for the 9th? Anybody else? Tim?
Yeah, I agree. The 9th and the 23rd should be our meeting dates for the month of January.
Janet?
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
All righty.
Wasn't just trying to be trouble.
Oh,
This time.
yeah, right. The 9th. Thank you. All right, new business. Oh, treasury report. I'm not a screen sharer. Did everybody receive what I sent out?
I
I
did.
saw it.
Yep.
Is there any questions about where we're at on the finances from Marion County? I didn't get them to you, Kelly, because I didn't know you'd be here, but I got them to Larry.
And
No
I wrote
question.
checks today for the 3 outstanding invoices.
We have a balance of 147,904.28, 11/1. We had three checks written on 8/29. COG got for $500, League of Oregon Cities $500, CIS Insurance for $1,132.98, which brings us down to 147,904.28. I just received a surprise on a credit card of $276 for Wix. At the first, I really thought that was fraud, but after research, I found out it wasn't. So, and then GoDaddy, back the 276 was on November 17th, 2022. GoDaddy was 9/13/22. That's still outstanding for 4434. And where'd the other one go?
One from the ethics people, I think, wasn't there?
Yep, Ethics Commission. It's a
40 something,
apparently
44.
yeah, required for our agency or special district, however you'd like to.
Yeah. Where did that one go? Oh, there it is. State of Oregon, November 1st, 2022, it's 4391. Government Ethics Commission. Those, the 4491, 276, and the 4434 are outstanding invoices that need to be paid. I have the 4434 and the 276 on my credit card. I hate paying interest, so as soon as I can get them, I'd appreciate it. It saved me from paying anything extra.
Well, I'll go ahead and move that we pay those 3 bills as presented.
I'll second that extreme expense that Ken's talking about.
I can't finance this program. All right. Tim made a motion. Tony seconded. Any more discussion? Do a vote.
Mr. Woodward,
Aye, pay it.
Mr. Kirsch,
Aye.
Mr. Nielsen,
Aye.
Mr. Morones.
I think Ken said that too quickly, but yes.
Now, I'd like to amend that we make those 2 checks payable to his better half rather than him. I vote aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'd love to go on screen share, but recently, just to let everybody know that I've had a lot of trouble sending attachments to where Google has started to attach pictures to the attachment. And so until I figure, I spent the last few days working on it, finally got it straightened out. But to get in there and screen share, I still haven't, not doing that yet. So please forgive me. We also have local government law group. And I sent that out to everybody. And it gives a breakdown of all the charges. Real reasonable. Very detailed. We started out with $1,932. And now we're down to 86. But I sent it. Has everybody received it?
I saw it.
Y'all good with that? Larry, you saw it?
Yep.
McCray? All good? Any questions?
I guess I just want to clarify, when you authorize to send the changes, are you expecting that you'll just pay your balance of whatever that work will cost? You brought it up a little, Ken, that you were like, we have $83 left in the account or whatever it is.
We have 86 and I'm sure he's going to charge us more than $86.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to pay the difference when we get the bill. Just make sure that his accounting department breaks it out and that it's on it.
They did a good job on this one.
Okay.
They did awesome.
So she will.
Okay.
And I think they're real reasonable
Yeah.
and they're efficient and so everything's good with that. I mean, I love to screen share, but above my pay grade right now. Communication. Policies. Strategy. Denny.
I don't have anything else to report, and I think we're sort of stymied until we have more information through the fast start element of the larger contract in terms of what's going to go on in both Detroit and Idana, as well as Mill City and Gates, because the element for Mill City and Gates actually hasn't been approved if I understood the conversation earlier in this session. So until we have more answers than we do questions, I think it's folly to be out there trying to do something that's incomplete at this point.
Okay. Just something came into the brain. Mary, there is a link of the meeting that you were talking to Denny about. I sent it to Larry. I don't know. Do you still have that, Larry? That link for not the Zoom meeting. Forget that, please. That was a bad one.
For what?
The first meeting in Detroit with Keller and Brian Nicholas, the Zoom meeting that was terrible, but there was a link that I sent you.
Yes, the YouTube link to watch it.
Yes.
Yeah, I can put it in the chat.
And Mary, it's a good one. They asked some good questions. Council did. You can understand that one. And don't look for the Zoom, please. That was terrible.
Okay, yeah, and I think Danny too, for that business, I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be a bunch of questions that come, I can't make the 13th, I have other commitments. But I'm sure there's questions coming out like, how would we permit this? And I think the first thing I'd recommend is let's figure out if we have a viable disposal options, whatever that's gonna be. And then we could have conversations as to who's gonna hold permits and what kind of association would they have? Would they form like a downtown association that then would be responsible for the permits wherever they're located? So there's different ways this could be handled with that. So, okay, thank you, Larry.
No, there's a document that I found goes back to 2008 with the DeGeorges and the motel.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that, Mary?
Well, I have had conversations with some of the staff and the permitting issue, like they wanted to expand and they couldn't expand because we didn't have a big enough drain field and those kind of conversations. So.
And then the 5,000 gallon 5,000 gallon per day was talked about as long as they used Orenco, and this is for the city park. But
Orenco doesn't really matter. I mean, they're just saying they need an advanced ATP system. Orenco's fine, but I just say it doesn't have to be Orenco.
right.
And the reason why they chose 5,000 gallons is because it doesn't also include a conversation with our environmental commission. Because if you're above 5,000 gallons, it triggers other requirements. But they still have to do groundwater evaluation, but they don't have to do the next step to talk to our commission. So.
Well, I sent that document to Brian Nicholas.
Okay.
And a few other people, but it's not a, just because I had it or sent it doesn't mean it's. it's law.
No.
It was just something that DEQ has approved the use of land at the old grade school for a septic system drain field, a 5,000 gallon max DEQ state can approve would be 100. It just goes on and on.
Mhm.
And it's just something, just reference in my book, you know.
Yeah, you can send it to me. I'll share it with Jessica. I'm sure we have it in our file somewhere. But you can send it to me. That's great. And I'll hand it to Jessica Joy, who, again, if it's above 2,500 gallons, then that's DEQ permitting. Below would be Marion County, who's our
Yeah.
AD.
Sanitarium, yeah. So did you put that link in the chat, Larry? Because
She put the YouTube link in there for me.
yeah, good. A lot of good questions.
So do we need to prepare answers for that, or is that something Keller's gonna do? Or I should just read it, look at it and see, and then back to you, Ken, or to Brian?
I think Brian and Peter, or excuse me, Brian, Nicholas, and Peter Olson with Keller are going to be there the 13th. And I don't know who they've contacted or who's going to show up. They want us to get on social media and advise everybody, you know, business owners. I think the realtors also should show up if they're selling commercial property, so everybody knows. Do you have any suggestions, Denny?
No, I think we were pretty clear at the council meeting, and I think the biggest point that was made, and to back up a little bit in terms of who's going to answer the questions, Peter and Brian were going to somehow develop answers to the questions that council had. And one of the big ones was, why not do some prospective modeling with respect to the needs in the business community so that in a short period of time, we can have some alternatives to discuss with the business owners so that they can intelligently approach building a business in the city of Detroit. And, you know, we keep rehashing the same things over and over and over again about issues that were developed many years ago, in some cases, like the 2008 that we just discussed. And it was great at the time, and it was approved at the time. I saw the document, but I don't think it's relevant today.
Well,
and it's great to have for history, but if we're going to communicate to our communities, we need something more solid than what I've seen yet. We have our FAQs. We have a statement that I sent out to those who were interested, and we're ready to move on that. But until we get more information from the professionals that have been engaged to design and execute this project, we really don't have anything to say. And I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself from earlier, but it's frustrating to just beat the same drum without any new information. And Michelle may want to chime in on this, but it makes our community frustrated too if we continue to repeat the same things that really don't give us any sort of future horizon to think about, look at, contemplate. But I think what Brian and Peter are doing, they have a window of 2 to 3 months where they're going to, they believe, I should say, that they'll have answers to a lot of those questions so that we can begin to communicate effectively. We already know what's going to happen with residential in terms of the various grant funds that are available to assist people who meet the means test. What we don't have is almost anything about the business community, which is the most important element of bringing Detroit back on the map and making the city vital and prosperous.
Well,
So there is some money in the, we call it OSFAB. So the money we gave $2 million to the COG for septic,
Right.
again, for residentials, but it does say essential businesses. So anyway, talk to McCray when we get the contract signed. There may be some options you know, if, depending on what this business is. So I think it's, you know, let's have the discussion if we have businesses raising their hands saying, hey, but for I can't come back if I don't have this, and
Right.
let's work it and see what's going on.
We're gonna start someplace. We just gotta get the business owners, the commercial property owners, the realtors, all of them there. Or try to get them all there, or try to get some of them there.
Well,
So,
the county has taken that responsibility, Ken, and they have sent out mailers, as well as I understand, as well as they're going to be using social media to promote the meeting on the 13th. So that's not anything that we had a responsibility in.
no, I understand. I just don't give up. Just keep pushing forward.
Yep.
That's
I
me.
agree.
That's me.
So Denny, is there properties, whether you call the commercial area, that have not been spoken for? What I'm thinking is, you know, if we're desperate for drain fills, maybe some of the vacant properties could become the drain fills. Obviously, you can't build on them, but, you know, again, if it's crucial for this commercial corridor to get up and running, then let's think about, okay, can you cobble some properties together that would allow a drain fill plus
Yeah, for properties that then would be developed later on once we hooked into the primary system. That's a great point, Mary. And actually, I talked to Brian about that, because the city has the old City Hall property, and then there's a large lot right next to that look like they're not going to be used. Perhaps parking, but that's, you know, right now, at least for the city property. I've got a request in to find out who owns, I guess, what used to be the old hardware property next to the city hall, because that's a large piece as well. That could be, as you say, cobbled together to provide some sort of a drain field element. So those things are being worked on.
But right on the, if you take the old Detroit City Hall site and the hardware store, and then you have ODOT that has all that nice green grass towards Highway 22, that open little area. I don't know how much distance that is, and I don't know if ODOT would like to help out.
Yeah, they don't like infrastructure in their right of ways. They make you take it out. But again, let's ask. Everything's on the table. So let's ask.
That's all we can do. That's what this whole process is. You know, it's temporary. So maybe they'll agree to 5 years, then pull it out.
So kind of a collateral issue for me is, and perhaps McRae can update us, where are we with our part-time employee for NSSA at this point?
We went out and advertised again, and we have a couple people we're going to be interviewing, hopefully next week. And we're just considering like what we want. Like with INCOG, we have different people who can help with some of the services. And honestly, one thing I'm considering and wanting is Scott Datson, our executive director, to, I mean, just in where does this position fit? Do we hire someone? What does it look like? For the operations plan and like the facilities plan, like how would the NSSA operate? Scott has a lot of experience. I just think that he could facilitate that very well. So let's just say we have interviews next week. And if we're knocked out of the park and we have the right person, we will hire. And if we don't, I would like to bring back the idea of, and talk to y'all, but I'm just planting the seed. I don't know if who has met Scott Datson, COG's executive director, but just pinning through the COG different staff for different roles. And that's what our proposal when you were working with Sarah back in April, and ultimately what our services look like. So you might have multiple, you might have one person. That's what we're looking at. But why do you ask, Denny? How does that influence the commercial?
Well, for example, if we have ideas, if we need to know who owns property, if there are issues that need to be communicated with our contractor, McKellar. It just seems that if we have a representative for the NSSA who's consistently there on board and processing this material, that we'll have a leg up in terms of what's happening overall with McKellar and their processes. Because right now it's pretty fragmented, and if we have 3 people we're working with at COG instead of one person that.
Oh, no, you will have like one point of contact who serves
Okay.
as like the thread through it all.
Okay,
But different people who come in and participate, you know, I mean, you don't need to know our admin staff who does meeting minutes, right?
No,
No, you will, in the way that Larry, you know, you had Sarah and you've seen Larry now since she came in with the county and has been facilitating conversations, and I've been tracking along and keeping you all on track, and I've been here and stepped back in again, and I have a decent pulse, I think, on what's going on. So I don't think it's going to be me continuing, but it might be, you know, I mean, in a lot of ways, maybe, amongst a few of us sitting here, I've been with y'all for a while.
a long time.
Know some of these different places. So, and if
I think that's great. I didn't know that
Yeah.
we could make contact with you or Larry. I know Ken's been working with Larry, and if that's the point of contact now, that's fine with me. I just don't think that's been very clear.
Okay, well, I will be clear to everyone right now. I am your point of contact at COG until anything else. And if you're dealing with property issues in any of those communities, you know, if you have questions about property ownership, when you said that, Jenny, I was like, I could get that probably pretty quick. Right.
I'll bet you could, but I
Yeah,
just didn't
you
know
can
you were
probably,
a resource.
I can teach y'all how to get to it too, but there's several of us here who could help, but I am your point of contact. I'm sorry if that has not been clear at the COG.
No, McCray is our point of contact, and McCray knows who's going to be qualified and who is not going to be qualified. And they can't go on forever for interviews. And if it comes to be where we just have to use COG and
Not just.
we're going to do it, period.
Yeah.
You know, there's some mechanical issues with our Gmail and the Wix account and all that kind of stuff, and I didn't know who to go to. You know, right now, for example, if I send out an email as the chair for communication and public relations, like I did last week, to a lady from a law firm in Portland who wanted to see the master plan in a different format than she was able to access on the NSSA website, then what happens is when I attach, which I figured out how to do finally on my own, which is sort of pathetic, but I sent it out and all of a sudden it comes from Ken Woodward. It doesn't come from Denny Nielsen. And so she responds to Ken instead of Denny. The other thing is when I access my Gmail account for NSSA, and I don't know whether I can trash anything I want. Is that my personal email or because somebody ought to clean it up, because there's stuff on there that's, you know, 150 emails ago that hasn't been touched forever, and it's confusing. It clobbers the system in, you know, in terms of all of the things that you have to go through to try and find material.
If it's not legal.
But I didn't know what I didn't want to be trashing individual items on that email for fear of what it might complicate for someone else.
So if I can ask a question, Denny, when you send an email, are you logged into the Santiam, North Santiam sewer account? And
well, so what happens is I'm on the Gmail account for NSSA. I get a question from a gal who is concerned because she's having trouble reading. Okay, so I went into our
Gmail.
What is it? It's up there in my browser, but it's the drive, the Google Drive. And so I plucked out the master plan and I shipped that off. But when I returned it, instead of just being sent from the Gmail account, it automatically switched to Wix. Why, I have no idea.
Mhm.
And then I sent it to her. She got it. Ken, also, I had said to Ken, I didn't know if I could figure out how to do that, but by the time I did, Ken had already done the same thing, so she got a couple of emails. But instead of coming from me, like I said, it came from Ken through this Wix association, which I have no idea about.
I never sent anything, Danny.
Didn't you? Okay, well, then it was me with your name on it because of the way the account's set up, but it's awkward and it's nothing like what I have been using for 30 years since I've been doing emails for business accounts. I mean,
Yeah,
I finally figured out how to attach, but there's some other things I haven't been able to figure out. So I either need a tutorial
mhm.
or I'm gonna be bugging you, McCray.
Mary, go
think
back
you
to
could
the
look at them.
snow-capped mountains, Mary.
Janet had her hand up during that.
She
Oh,
did?
I just want to say that we cannot delete the emails in that account. What we can do is Ken and I are going to have a conversation about record retention and storage and having records in 2 different places. So if something happens and things start disappearing out of Google, we have another set, but we can clean up that email account and archive stuff
we
in there.
just
So we
archived
have
it,
it where
but
we can get to it.
Yeah, but I didn't think I was the one to archive it.
No, that needs to be me.
Okay.
Glad you said that. Because I know where the
Ken?
delete, I know where the delete button is.
Ken,
Yeah,
hush.
I just helped Denny out.
Yeah, there's the record retention laws. It's kind of like our public meeting laws and public record laws. So if for some reason we end up in litigation somewhere and it can be proved that we were deleting out of that account, it could cause us problems with, well, if you deleted that, what else did you delete type situation.
We'll just blame it on Tony. Bring it on. We're not gonna do anything to get us in trouble. Well, McCray, good luck on the interviews. If not, we're still gonna move forward.
Yeah.
Good.
McCray, we're having the same issue. We've had positions open for 2 years now.
Mhm.
Good paying positions, and we can't fill them.
Yeah. I mean, the people we interviewed, they're just, I want a certain person to step in. You all have had some really good staff. And just, so I'm being a little picky.
Good. We got a good team,
Yeah.
good group of people. We're just gonna keep going. And
Yeah, and Larry and I met last week, like she's going to be here, from the county's perspective and keeping checks. So I think the partnership between us, the COG and the county, like, I think we've got your coverage. We've got it worked.
Yeah.
It's just and I really like the idea of Scott doing the operational plan with y'all. That I just think it's a really good focus for bringing someone in who doesn't know y'all and doesn't know what's been going on in the canyon. They haven't walked in yet, at least.
good.
Great point.
And everybody here at this meeting also understands that they can voice their opinion at any time. And if they need to address something, to address it.
Mhm.
Don't be shy. We got to keep everything up and above board and keep everybody on the straight and narrow. We'll take care of you, Denny.
I know you will.
Anything else? Where'd little one go, Arthur?
Mama is giving him a bath. I can hear the screams behind me.
Right on.
I wanted to offer in this communication, one thing that we talked about last week, Larry and I did, and Silas, was on our website, there's the, new events, or what is it called? Updates, what's happening with the North Santiam Sewer Authorities. And the last time something was posted on there was July 15th when the video was released. And we were talking about, like, there's been a lot of things that have gone on in the past 6 months, right? Like Keller was selected, this upcoming meeting on December 13th, and starting to get some more active movement, and that being the website having some more activity that people go, oh, what's happening? So that was just one of the things. What is the status of the contract with Keller? Which one? I'll let Larry.
The first
Larry.
contract, Arthur, or are you talking about the full contract?
I think I'm talking about the full contract. Yeah.
Wednesday at 9 a.m. in the Commissioners Board session at Marion County, they're looking to approve that contract.
Thank you.
Mhm. And so if you're so compelled, you can jump on YouTube and watch,
Or show up in person.
or show up in person. I'll save you a seat right next to me.
I don't have the expertise to get on the website, McCray, and make any additions or put anything on there. Larry, McCray,
Sarah was updating that prior to her departure. I think
Right.
she's the one that put the video on there. So, we sort of depended on her for a lot of things like that. And I think that's a great task for whoever's supporting the NSSA is to keep that updated.
Mhm.
I don't even know who has the administrative rights to that. So
I do. I
Yeah.
think McCray does as well now.
We
I
do
gave
the
it to her.
blog. Yep. Yeah, so we can start providing some updates. I think monthly, just one to get back rolling with monthly would be good.
Well, I'm
Larry,
glad you
you're-
brought it up, McCray. Do we have analytics associated with that website so that we know how many hits we're getting and what elements or areas within the website are being looked at by the general public? So that we can maybe use that information to focus our updates or focus other opportunities for communication with on the site?
Muted.
You're muted, McCray.
I should just stay unmuted. I think we can, that on the back end, be able to get some data. We can see anyone can see how many people have hit the site. There's 6,400 at this point, but getting more into like, where are people looking? Are they looking at past meeting minutes or going to the YouTube channel or by Janet? So I might task Silas with digging that up.
Janet had to go. Yeah, if feel free to put something on there.
Mhm.
Update. Larry, if you feel free, I mean, you have the information to get on there as well, don't you?
Actually, I don't have the Wix website information. No.
I can give it to you, or McCray can give it to you.
Yeah. Is there a flyer for the December 13th meeting, or it's not going to be on Zoom?
No, I don't think it's going to be on anything other than in person.
Just in person.
In the gymnasium at the Civic Center.
Mm-hmm.
And and Marion County has taken the responsibility, as I said earlier, to invite all of the people who own real estate in the business district and the people who have been leasing that property, if they don't own it, to operate a business. So and it will include not just the business core on the main street in Detroit, but it'll include businesses across the street where the old motel was, a gas station, the mortgage, and so on.
So Denny, do you think it would not be advantageous to, for me to invite anybody from the IDANA community? I mean, I understand the focus and don't want to take away from the focus, but again, with transparency and just kind of, letting people know what's happening as a whole. Do you think it would be?
Tony, that's a great idea.
I mean, not that they're going to show up in droves, but at least then we're just kind of still continuing to push that information out there and say it's just another piece of what's going on.
Right.
And they'll get to they'll understand when the meeting starts, as the business owners and whatnot, but anybody can show up. They can they can be a part of it. Transparency, what's going on, what's happening. I think it's a great idea. I'd let them know.
I'll just push towards city council and push towards the links there, and at least then we're just again communicating. So thank you.
And Peter said he's going to send me something that for the 13th, whatever it is, and as soon as I get it, I'll let people know. You have something, McRae?
No,
Okay,
I haven't
yeah.
seen anything yet, but if there is something, let's put it on our website.
Yeah.
There was an electronic brochure that went out for the meeting with the city council. I don't know if they intend to do something similar.
I'm sure they will.
Hey, Danny, I mean, it might be good to have the frequently asked questions, like have some copies of that so in-person meeting, or at least put somewhere where the link is would be, because you think about it, this would be the opportunity, especially if Tony's going to invite people from IDANA who, again, they have options for septic systems through the work that McRae's doing with DEQ's on-site money. So it might be nice to have a certain percentage if we have non-business people there, that they can get some quick updates then you can focus on the businesses. So who is in charge of this meeting? Is it Marion County? Larry?
Yes, it's Brian Nicholas and Peter Olson.
Yeah. So Larry, what do you think about having just a small section sort of giving the update of the overall sewer project, and this is a stopgap, that kind of stuff?
I think it would be wonderful, like for say if Denny was up there with Brian and Peter and gave the introduction, as if hey guys, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. Today we have Brian and Peter. Here's a quick introduction. I'm, about NISA, about the project, and I'll turn it over to them. I think that could add a lot to it.
Well, and I'm happy to do that, but Brian and Peter made it pretty clear that this was their party. And, they were in charge of inviting, putting together an agenda and the material to be communicated, but mostly it was not about communication from the county to the business owners or the general public. It was about facilitating input from the business community to the contractor and Marion County.
I'll be there as well. And, we're all going to be a part of it.
Well, if there's an opportunity, then, because again, I know it's focused on the business owners, but other people are probably going to be there. So if we had
the community, Mary, the community was invited to the session with the city council. We didn't have anybody show up other than people who generally attend council meetings.
Okay.
Debbie Rule was there. I think Elizabeth Smith might have been there, and Tracy Boland and her husband were there, and that was it.
Huh.
And there was a lot of social media interaction prior to that meeting, and we're talking a week to 10 days prior to that meeting. So one of the things I've been sort of fascinated with is to see what happens next Tuesday night, because I hope it's better than what I've seen so far.
It will be.
Hey, Denny, do you have any update on the audio visual? Like, do you know if you guys got your mics operating?
It's a great question, Larry. I wish I had more to tell you other than I have been asked, along with another of my colleagues on the council, to sort of take over this project to produce a contemporary audiovisual system in council chambers so that people can understand what we're discussing and what we're processing as a council. It's awful the way it is right now. It's worse than awful because people have expectations, and the room itself is not acoustically sound, pardon the pun. But that's one of the things that we've already gotten a bid on. We have a room that's approximately 25 by 50 feet in terms of the dimensions, with very high ceilings. There isn't a soft surface in the entire facility. So I think we're looking at somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000 for acoustic treatment that will be very colorful and be looked at by someone who has designer talents, which is not me. I am not, and then I'm working with Todd Smith and I are working a contractor by the name of Hear No Evil, who is in the business of producing this kind of AV system, and they do it on a regular basis.
Can I interrupt real quick, Denny? Is there any more NSSA business? Because we can stop the recording and we can leave you on there and you can discuss it. But if there's no more NSSA business, then I can stop the recording and end the meeting. Is that agreeable?
Thank you for that, Ken. Yes, it's agreeable.
Okay, just a second. It is 7:24 and we're going to end the meeting. We're going to stop the recording, and there's no more NSSA business, and I will get out anything that I receive from Peter to everyone. So anyway, stopping the recording. Thank you, everybody.